Once upon a time, in a quiet village by the edge of a great forest, there lived a kind little girl who always wore a red hooded cloak that her grandmother had sewn for her. Everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One morning, her mother said, "Come, Little Red Riding Hood, your grandmother is feeling sick and weak. Take this basket of bread and soup to her house in the forest. Go straight there, my dear, and don't talk to strangers. Stay on the path, and don't wander off." Little Red Riding Hood nodded. "I promise, Mother." Her mother kissed her and watched as she started down the forest path. The Red Hood, bright as a berry among the trees. As she walked through the forest, Little Red Riding Hood met a wolf. She didn't know what kind of creature he really was, dangerous and clever. "Good morning, little girl," said the wolf kindly. "Good morning," she answered. "Where are you going so early?" "To my grandmother's house," she said. "She's not feeling well." "And what are you carrying in that basket?" "Bread and soup," she said. "Mama baked it fresh this morning." The wolf smiled slyly. "How thoughtful you are. And where does your grandmother live?" "Just beyond the mill." "In the first little cottage under the big oak trees," said Red. The wolf thought to himself, "A sweet young girl and an old sick woman, both would make a fine meal." Then he said, "Look at all those flowers, my dear. Why don't you pick some for your grandmother? She would be so happy." Little Red Riding Hood looked around. The sunlight shone through the leaves, and the ground was covered in pretty flowers. She thought, grandmother would love these. So she left the path to pick a few, and while she did, the wolf ran off down the shortcut to her grandmother's house. While Little Red Riding Hood was busy picking flowers, the wolf ran as fast as his legs could carry him through the forest. At last, he reached grandmother's little cottage. He knocked softly on the door. "Who's there?" called grandmother in a weak voice. "It's me, grandmother," said the wolf, trying to sound sweet. "Little Red Riding Hood. I've brought you bread and soup from mother." "Oh, come in, my dear," said grandmother. "Lift the latch, I'm too weak to get up." The wolf lifted the latch, stepped inside, and in a single gulp swallowed grandmother whole. Then he found one of her nightgowns, put it on, pulled her cap low over his head, and climbed into her bed, pulling the blanket up to his nose. After picking enough flowers, Little Red Riding Hood remembered her mother's words and hurried along the path until she reached the small house. The door was standing wide open. "Grandmother," she called softly, stepping inside. No answer. She tiptoed to the bed and said, "Oh, grandmother, what big ears you have." "The better to hear you with, my child," came a growling voice. "Oh, grandmother, what big eyes you have." "The better to see you with, my child." "Oh, grandmother, what big hands you have." "The better to hug you with, my child." "But, grandmother, what big teeth you have." "The better to eat you with," roared the wolf. He leaped out of bed and swallowed poor Little Red Riding Hood whole. Not long after, a hunter was walking nearby. He heard strange snoring and thought, how loudly the old woman snores. "I'd better check if she's all right." He stepped inside and saw the wolf asleep in the bed, his belly huge and round. He raised his knife to kill the wolf, but then he thought, maybe the old woman is still inside. So he took his scissors and carefully cut open the wolf's belly. Out popped Little Red Riding Hood, safe but frightened. Then out came grandmother, still alive but weak. They filled the wolf's belly with heavy stones, and when he woke up and tried to run, the stones were so heavy that he fell down dead. Little Red Riding Hood hugged her grandmother tightly and said, "From now on, I'll always listen to my mother and never leave the path again." And she kept her promise.